Yo, what's going on guys? It's Daniel. Welcome back to the YouTube channel Tech Tuning. In today's video, I'm going to be looking into the oil leak on the Celica. I have some suspicions that it either has to do with the distributor seal, which I'm pretty sure is an O-ring on the end of the distributor that goes into the camshaft gear, or the other thing I'm thinking is it could be something relating to the timing chain cover and the gaskets associated with that, because I have replaced them in the past. If you guys watched my dual row timing chain series, and I had a leak after that. I thought I had fixed it, but obviously I'm still leaking oil from around that area. So my other suspicion is it could be something to do with that. So the first thing I need to take care of is I need to just clean out the whole area because there's oil dripping from everywhere. Once I clean it off, I'll be able to better identify where it comes from. If I drive it around a little bit again, I could see where it's gonna seep from. I have to go get some supplies, so let me run to the store, pick up all the stuff we need to do this, and I'll get right back to you guys. All right, and we are back with what we need. Just some shop towels and some RTV. I just need some of this stuff for cleaning up and potentially resealing and putting in new gaskets. So to give you guys a quick rundown, like I said, my suspicions on what was leaking. I bought all new front cover gaskets, and I should have plenty of O-rings if the distributor one is bad. But first, we're gonna take some degreaser and we're gonna spray it all down and let it sit. And then I'll have to drive around again and see where the oil is coming from. All right, so to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, you can see all this oil that's been going down the front of the cover, and you can see it's really like piled up right over here underneath the distributor. And if you look around by the power steering rack pump pulley thing, the bracket, you can see it's all dripping down right there as well. And you can see it's going all the way down to the bottom, and it's collecting down there on the sway bar and the splash shield and all that. So I'm thinking the best course of action is probably going to be to take off all the belts. If I take off the belts, I should give myself a little bit more working room to get in there. And I have some simple green that I'm going to dilute just a little bit and spray that on. And with a mix of like brushes and shop towels, I'm going to try to just like agitate everything and clean it. Then I'll take a hose and we'll spray it out so that there's nothing left. And then probably some sort of air dryer or heat gun or something just to dry any residual water. Then I should get a pretty good idea after driving around again where exactly it's coming from. Because when it's all messy like this, you can't pinpoint one exact location because everything is covered. If you kind of catch what I'm saying there. So let me get to cleaning this up, taking the belts off, and we'll start getting an idea of what we're working with. Alright, so I got all three of the main belts on the Celica off, and I have them off to the side, and I labeled each one with a Sharpie that what they went to on the belt. That way when we go back to putting it together, we'll know which one goes where and in what order. I now have the simple green, which this is a pretty strong concentrate because we want it to be pretty powerful. I just don't want something that's going to be too abrasive that it's going to mess up the gaskets that are already in place, because there's always the chance that some of the gaskets we have might still be good, and I just need to figure out which one might be bad. So I have this, which is stronger than regular watered down simple green, but it's going to be a little bit less heavy than some other degreasers like Purple Power, for instance, which is really aggressive. So I laid some cardboard down underneath the car, and what I'm going to do now is just go to town with this and just start spraying it all over. And I'm going to find some little brushes like either a toothbrush or just a little plastic cleaning detailing brush. And after I let it sit for a little bit, we're just going to go scrub it all out, make sure we get all the oil clean, and then we'll move on to washing it all out. Alrighty, so after doing the spraying, scrubbing, and then hosing down for a couple passes, you can see a huge difference in this area. It's actually back to that like fresh silver color it was when I installed it, not like golden oily brown with chunks of crud all over it. And I was really thorough in doing this. Like I did it at least 3 times, and I used a toothbrush to get into every nook and cranny. I'm sure I missed a couple spots, but you can see the difference the purple power made in some of these sections that used to be covered in crud. What I noticed actually in the process is that the alternator was super gunked up, which could lead to my suspicion that maybe it's the distributor seal or something on this side in general. I don't think it has to do with the power steering, which is directly above the alternator, because then the fluid would have been red, not as oily in color. But the distributor seal internally could be what's going bad, and it could be leaking from right here and just seeping down this system and getting all of the alternator. You can probably still see there's some gunk on the alternator. I could only get so much up in there, but it's definitely way cleaner than it was before, which is nice, not just for the fact of finding the leak, but because it just looks way better in the engine bay now. But yeah, super thorough all up in here, cleaned it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take an electric leaf blower of some sort, and I'm gonna just try and blow off everything that I can, as well as taking a towel and just patting dry some of the areas. I was pretty careful to avoid most of the electronic stuff, but obviously it's water, it's gonna get everywhere. However, as long as we dry it off and then we'll let it sit for a while before driving it or anything, we should be okay. As you guys can see, the leaf blower did a really good job of getting all that water out of the bay. I'm still gonna let it sit for a while just to be safe, because you never know what nooks and crannies it might be in. So that's kind of where I'm gonna call it for now. I'm gonna get back to it at a later point, maybe give it like a couple hours to a day just to let everything really fully dry. It's not super warm out, so it could take a bit. Once that's finished though and I get back to it, then I'm gonna top up the oil, check it, put the belts back on, and I'll drive it around, and we'll see exactly where it's seeping from now that everything is clear and we have a very clean slate to see what source of oil is creating our leak. So now that I've cleaned it up, I've let it dry for a pretty long time, everything is looking pretty good there. I'm just gonna get to putting those belts back in. Once those are back in, we should be good to proceed. Just like that, we have everything back together. We have all 3 belts in place and everything is put back as it should be. I have them all tensioned and snugged. The only thing I'm not going to replace is the lower splash shield, because I did clean that off too, and if the oil drips come back and they're really bad, I'd rather not have to clean that off all over again. So I'm just going to leave it out for the time being. So with a little bit more YouTube magic, I'm going to take this for a drive. When we come back, hopefully we will have a pretty good idea of where our leak is coming from. So I drove it around for a little bit, and I'm not sure how well you guys will be able to pick up on this, so I'm going to try and give you some lighting. But you can see it's not quite leaking, but it looks pretty wet at the back of the timing chain cover over there. And I don't know if that's because the gasket isn't making a good seal, or if maybe the problem is like there's a head gasket oil leak somewhere higher up. But it's definitely not dripping from anywhere in the front so far, which is interesting because that's where I thought it was coming from. I mean, like I said, my main suspicions were either distributor seal or the front timing chain. Specifically, I thought it was going to be the timing chain cover bolt, which goes right through the head into the front cover, because that was where I thought I had a leak initially, and I redid it, put new sealant and everything, but it didn't seem to make any difference. So I'm wondering if maybe it's not even coming from there at all. Maybe it's coming from back here in this area, if you guys can see back here. I'm going to have to drive it around a little bit longer and get a good idea if that's really where it's coming from. So that'll probably wrap up this video here for today. So yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's much else more I can say or do for this video. I'm gonna have to just keep driving it and see where it comes up as. Once I have that figured out, there'll likely be a follow-up video to this where we figure out how to fix the leak. So like I said, I bought all the front cover stuff. I'm really hoping it's nothing worse than that, because the front cover is already a pretty big job as it is. I mean, I'd basically be repeating the entire timing chain job minus replacing the timing chain. So it's just taking the entire front end of the engine apart. But yeah, like I said, I'll keep driving it, I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully you'll see the sequel video pretty soon, depending on what I end up doing next. If it's a big job, I'll likely wind up putting it on the back burner again. I have a couple other things I'd like to do in the bay first. One of those things being an EGR delete, which would honestly make that job easier because there'll be less stuff in the bay then. I mean, the oil leak is pretty annoying, but if I don't have the time to get it done right now, then it's gonna have to wait. I know this video wasn't really too eventful, but maybe it's useful if you're trying to figure out how to fix an oil leak on your car, or at least find one. But that's gonna about do it for this one. I'll see you guys in whatever the next update is on the car, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff sorted out. Thank you guys for watching. I don't even know why I bother putting the AC belt on. It's not like it does anything.